The Mandalorian Armor. Chapter 21. He hated to do it, but Bosk knew he had to. The greed impulses in his Trandoshan brain, as hardwired as any droid's circuits, almost overruled all the others. He could hear the words inside his head, ancient bounty hunter wisdom, told to him by his own father. The live ones are worth more than the dead ones. Old Kradosk had known what he was talking about, at least about that. Whenever Bosk ran his clawed hands along the picked, clean bones he'd kept as mementos, he had a renewed sense of legacy and tradition. But even so, another truth remained, equally hard and obdurate. Things were different when you were dealing with a creature like Boba Fett. On the screen of the Houndstooth's long-distance scanner, in the cramped cockpit, Bosk could see the tiny speck of light that represented Fett's ship. The slave one had already left the surface of Tatooine, as Bosk had known it would. Soon, within seconds, it would be beyond the planet's atmosphere, and then it would be within his own sighting and tracking range. That was how little time Bosk had remaining to him to press the button beneath his clawed thumb and accomplish all that was necessary. No time for rethinking his decisions or regretting lost profits. He had been back aboard Slave One, extracting a few more interesting files from its databank, when the comm controls had lit up like the bright sparks of a disintegrating asteroid. That could mean only one thing: that the message about Boba Fett being alive was true, and that he had just reinitiated contact with the ship that he had left in orbit above Tatooine. Bosk had also known what was to follow. Slave One would obediently follow Boba Fett's remote transmitted commands, switch on and prime its engines, and head down to Tatooine to rendezvous with its master. And then Boba Fett would not only be alive, but free and active in the galaxy once again. Free and active, and the top #1 bounty hunter on all the galaxy's scattered worlds. Bosk could still feel the rage and fear that had come boiling up inside him. Rage was a familiar emotion. Trandoshans woke up angry, but fear was something new. And powerful, it had pushed him into action, quick and efficient. He hadn't wasted any thought on the mysteries that had been so tantalizingly uncovered to him. If the rich and powerful Quat of Kuat was interested in Boba Fett being alive or dead, so be it. Bosk might still be able to cash in by confirming it to the owner of Quat Drive Yards. And if there was some connection between Prince Shizor, the Black Sun's hidden ruler, and the raid on the moisture farm at the Dune Sea's edge, the answers about that weren't going to come from Boba Fett. Bosk would make sure of that. There had been just enough time to haul a sufficient quantity of high-thermal explosives over from the Houndstooth, conceal them in the holding cages of Fett's ship, and rig the remote triggering device. Then Bosk had sealed the entrance hatchway of Slave One, disconnected his own ship, and watched from his cockpit viewport as the other craft had sped planetward. Now that ship was heading back into space, bearing its helmeted master. The speck of light had grown larger. Another second, and Bosk would have waited too long. All regret was expunged from his heart. He pressed the button on the cockpit's control panel. Instantaneously, the ominous light was transformed into a ball of churning flame, surrounded by extinguishing vacuum. Radiant sparks, bits of heated metal no bigger than a human's hand, drifted away from the core of the explosion, the dust and atoms of the other ship. Bosk leaned back in the pilot's chair, feeling exhausted as the tension began to drain from his coiled muscles. That does it, he thought with relief. Boba Fett's dead now. For good. No regrets, he knew it had to be done. But one thing still puzzled Bosk as he gazed out at the emptiness between the stars. Why did he still feel afraid? End of Star Wars: The Mandalorian Armor. Book 1 of the Bounty Hunters trilogy by K.W. Jeter.